Nice.
Hey, so just while everyone's gathering, I didn't say this last time and I should have. So just so you're all aware, all of these workshops are sponsored by the Film Society, the Essex Film Club, and the New Media Collective. So I just want to make sure that you all are aware of who is behind all of this. And I'm Beth Bonnick. For those of you who don't know me, I coordinate the Media Studies program and am mostly on the Catonsville campus. But anyway, oh, just one more thing. Are you all creating your projects for the media contest? Did you see that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, I know what
Yes.
you're talking about.
Yes,
Okay.
that's my weekend project, is finishing editing the documentary.
Oh, very cool, very cool. So if you don't know about that, we're having a contest for you all to create projects around the quarantine, your quarantine experience, right? And so we have Amazon gift cards.
Oh, wow.
We have a $200, a $150, and a $100 gift card for you guys. So work on those projects. I can send out more information on that. If you don't have it, most of you should kind of be aware of this. If not, I'll get it out again. But anyway, so I'm going to pass this over to Professor Kenny, who's going to introduce our awesome guest for today. So, all right, Professor Kenny, you're on.
Hello, everybody. And those of you returning, definitely welcome back. Monday was great, and I think we're in for another treat today. And today's speaker, he's actually made this entire series happen. And first and foremost, he's a mentor and a great friend of mine. But I think professionally, what he brings, you guys will get a great benefit from it, because I know I have. Actually, he gave me my first internship opportunity with the Arts Commission in DC doing a hip hop week, which I was a young, hungry videographer, just making mistakes and learning. But on top of that, this gentleman has done a plethora of things. He's a Emmy Award winning producer. He's worked with the NFLPA. He's worked with BET. He's done commercials with Mike Tyson, Shot, and Club Love back in the early 2000s. And I've actually worked on him with projects with the Qatar Consulate and their Economic Council. Just so many things that this gentleman has done. And he also has started a program where he reaches out to college students and exposes them to the industry with his nonprofit exposure. So it's just so many accolades and so many things that Brother Don Napoleon has done. I think that you guys will definitely enjoy what he has to bring today.
All right. Thank you, Professor Kenny. Thank you, Professor Beth. How's everyone doing out there?
Pretty good.
Very well, yourself?
Quarantine and rolling out of your bed for this. I appreciate you tuning in. It's always a pleasure to like I keep telling Professor Kenny and Professor Bell, it's always a pleasure to educate, inspire, and empower everyone. You know, I think one of the key things, and you'll see it in my slides when we get going, I think whatever you learn, whatever experiences that you have to pass it on. You know, it's a duty of yours. It's not part of keeping things in. It's all part of passing it along. I think that's why we're all here. So let's get going. And if you can mute yourself, and then what we're gonna do towards the end is Q&A. Okay, so make sure that you take notes, keep notes throughout the program, and let's get ready to rock. I'm gonna share my first screen with you.
Do we have any more students trying to get in, Don?
Let me check.
Before we get started, I think we did.
Give me a sec. It looks like, oh, hold on. Oh, here we go, perfect. I think everyone's in now. Yep. Perfect. Yep, everyone's in. Thanks for checking on that. All right, what we got? We're 1:07 minutes in. Just give me a thumbs up if everyone can see this first slide. Sweet. Okay. All right, so welcome to Video Storytelling, the production process, becoming storyteller certified. Again, I'm happy that everyone's here. I made notes, so I'll probably be reading from my notes back to back throughout this process. Hold on, I want to make sure my slides are going. Perfect. Okay, so listen, it's not rocket science to know that when consumers are exposed to good visual content, Whether it's about a business, politics, campaign, or an event, you become more invested in the storyteller and the idea behind the story and what it took to develop the content. I take a documentary style approach to storytelling while giving a glimpse from behind the scenes, crafting a compelling story to deliver a message to the public. The fundamentals of digital storytelling has the power to provide context and depth to all types of stories for a diverse range of industries between politics, business, sports, or entertainment. So in this hands-on workshop, you, students, will receive a breakdown of digital storytelling for each video I present. While understanding how the project was contracted, understanding the pre-production and creative process behind production meetings and confirming scripts, shooting styles, and drafting the shot list, while understanding the best gear to accomplish a story, okay? The topics we will discuss include types of storytelling videos, understanding the pre-production and post-process, breaking down the production and storytelling, identifying the storyboard, script, and shot list, defining your story, the look and the style of it, and of course, the best part, editing and developing a storyline and what that process is all involved in. And lastly, I always tell people they should have an idea or to do this as consultant on social media and sharing tips for your clients. It's always helpful. So a little bit about me. Born and raised in New York. The rest of my years, I was raised in East Orange, New Jersey. Attended Virginia State University. Go Trojans. Out of school, my first job was at NBC News Channel 12 in Richmond, Virginia. That was kind of my foundation in production. I was able to basically work in broadcast news. It was a very interesting experience. The good and the bad, but most importantly, I was able to understand broadcasting. Later on, I actually moved out of the Richmond area, became a SAG-and-AFTRA agent. I was certified like around 2001. If you don't know what a SAG-and-AFTRA agent is, basically the agents that are behind booking projects for commercials, industrials, film, or music videos, whatever you call it, you become a certified agent to be able to do that. That's a whole nother series of a conversation, but I worked on commercials, industrials, some docs, and some films, becoming a SAG agent. The reason why I went from broadcasting also to SAG was because I wanted to understand the entire process. My first production job was with Atlantic Video. Atlantic Video was a production company in Washington, D.C., and they had projects with like PBS, ESPN, Discovery Network. Some of these networks are not even around anymore. Some of the production companies aren't around anymore, but that's where I got my foundation. I worked directly with the CEO, and the opportunity to work with a CEO and COO of a production company gave me all my business fundamentals and all the business background. I mean, looking at proposals and contracts and really understanding how those things work. I was very, very fortunate to be able to get that opportunity. But of course, like any other job, I was downsized at some point. And my first producing job was with the Mayor's Channel of Economic Development in Washington, D.C. And I had my opportunity to develop the first economic development show that covered all of the changes in economic development and gentrification that was happening in D.C. So I had an opportunity to interview and talk to all the main developers. If you drive around and see Akridge, Douglas Jamal in the DC area, or even Baltimore, those were the big players at the time. And I had an opportunity not only to work with them, but other developers, and everything that was developing in Washington, DC was through my program, through the mayor's office. After that.
I think a couple people trying to get let in.
Okay, thank you. Hold on, let me check.
Couple people commented, I think.
There we go. Thank you for saying that. If you see anyone else that's waiting, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Perfect. Where did I leave off at? So after my first producing job, I partnered with Gearshift TV, Jim Follier. That'll be the video production on how to start your own video production company. That's the one you'll get on Friday. When I partnered with Gearshift TV, I came with them with just producing knowledge, and that was it. I had never really shot. I had never really edited, never really told my own, well, I did tell my own story producing, but not from a production standpoint. Working with Jim gave me an opportunity to cultivate and learn how to edit and really learn how to shoot. And we're still partners today. And we'll be talking more about relationships and partnerships and why those are important. Then later on, I was able to win an Emmy. I won an Emmy with the Maryland Public Broadcasting Network. Again, that's a whole nother conversation, but just winning an Emmy really validated a lot of the work that I was working on and what I'm working on today. And then at some point in 2010, I launched my first company, Napolean Complex Project. And the reason why we launched the Napolean Complex Project was because we knew that we were storytellers, and we knew that we wanted to develop content that really mattered. We knew that we wanted to be able to produce videos to help small businesses and be able to convey people's products and thoughts and things that they were working on. The approach that I keep mentioning was a documentary style approach, really kind of behind the scenes, because I think small business and independent people sometimes don't get the opportunity to showcase who they are and what they do, and we were able to try to provide that window for them. So this first video right here just kind of gives a quick overview of our company. Hope you guys like that. Give me a second to go back to my original slide. Give me a second here. Give me a second, okay, guys? All right, we're back. So yeah, everyone can still hear me well? Volume, thumbs up, perfect. Yeah, so our motto, your vision, your trust, your story. We wanted to convey people's vision. We wanted our clients to trust us, and we wanted to tell stories, point blank. So get ready to take notes, and also your questions. We're gonna get into, I'm gonna basically give a quick overview of the production process and just dive right into all our videos. The pre-production process is when you interview us, but we're also interviewing you. The end result is make sure that we can be able to make sure that we're a match to work together. I think that's so important. A lot of people skip that part, but every client is not your client, and every project you work with might not be the project for you. So it's okay sometimes either to walk away. The contract part, very important. You want to make sure that you get a memorandum of understanding. You want to make sure you go over all the key things, releases, and all the expectations with a client. You do that in the contract. I've had a lot of interns that I've worked with, or just colleagues that I've worked with, that never put a contract in place. And sometimes it can cause an issue, or sometimes it can drop a loophole, or something can happen. So you always want to make sure. And you can get copies of contracts online as well. The creative process. So in the creative process, when you basically storyboard, you script, you basically go through your shot list, and you and your client start to combine your vision and really understand what you really want out of the project. The key thing is to listen to your client, understand their vision, see what they're trying to get done, and then you come in as an advisor and an expert and tell them how you can make that vision come to life. Most clients are looking for you to provide your vision and your expertise. So it's so key to be able to go into that. The production management process is one of the things that I hone in and love the best. My wife says it all the time. She says that I put a very good crew together. And because the reason why I put a crew together and the reason why I have these relationships are because I know what everyone's good at. And that's so important when you're putting a crew together, because everyone is good at something. I know with my DP, Jim, he's an excellent shooter. I know that with editors, Jim's also a good editor as well, but I know that I have some good editors. I have good people that make graphics. I know good people that shoot. Some of my production people are good second camera. So I know what skill sets everyone has to be able to put a shoot together. And I know who does interviews well, who do sound bites well. So it's very key to be able to put that together. On the day of production, what's important there is assigning everyone their jobs. And then once you get to the production process, and we'll go through that with every video that I have, what's important in that process is laying everything out in an EDL. It's so important, and I learned this through Jim, is to break off your B-roll, which all the shots you got, your interviews, your testimonies, all the key things, you have to break them out so you can be able to see and tell your story a little bit better. And just about that, it's funny because I will shoot or work on a project on Monday, and sometimes I usually upload and kind of put everything in that night. I usually probably won't touch the project for another week. You wanna know why? For some reason, I don't know if it's just because of my age, I'm not sure, but it takes me time to be able to get into a creative thought, because what I really wanna do is develop the project the way that the client wants to. And I gotta get into a creative flow. So that's so important. Everyone has their rhythm about what they do and how they do it, but it's very, very important to be able to get into that rhythm and flow, because you want to be your most creative person when you're putting something together, okay? All right, so time to dive into some of our first videos, and now we're gonna go into the breakdown. So I'm gonna break down each video, what it took to be able to produce that video, so you can really understand the elements of production and that whole process of storytelling. Cool beans? Everyone can still hear me well? Awesome. All right, here we go. Still see my screen?
If we really want to create a society of equality and freedom, we cannot compromise on our goal. We may compromise in strategy and tactic, but not on the goal. The goal has to be a free and open society where you have not just law and order, but you have equality, where you have respect, dignity, and you have justice for all.
I've had for 17 years the honor of being mentored by a woman that many of you know, Dr. Dorothy Irene Height. I had the blessing to sit at her feet, literally, and it was there where I learned about myself, where I discovered about myself that I had the responsibility to be a woman in the world space, not just a woman in my neighborhood. But I learned from Dr. Height that everything that I do locally has the potential to impact lives globally. So when we started this organization, we started with a simple mission. And that mission was to call women together and share these kinds of ideas about, not just being your sister's keeper, but the fact that we are our sisters.
Communities are more secure around the world when Black men and women find a common cause around our health and wellness, our education, and our economic security.
Am I the only one that takes charge? Okay, because I'll have a training class in a minute, because we need a lot of folks taking charge. Dr. Haidt used to say, just make the call and the women will come. We made the call, and the women and men are here.
Sometimes the best feminist is a man. Because a man who understands and respects women can open the door and say, no, we need more women in here, and it's accepted readily.
How do I get a seat at the table and I don't look like anybody that's in the room?
The issue of economic empowerment continues to be a real live one. The issue of sustainable development and gender equality continues to be a real live one. And being frank, talking just doesn't cut it.
We are in a battle, and we can't win this battle with a broken army.
The world sees us as the greatest game changers. However, they often overlook us in being able to enforce and impact change.
The problem is that these agendas don't move to center stage the way that they ought. Everybody wants to tell us our narrative.
What this is about preparing not just ourselves, but the next generation of leaders who will carry on the work.
I firmly believe that the empowered girl has the power to impact her generation.
Globalization in its natural form is just so easy for us as a people to come together and work together and to bring out the best in each other.
I support the International Black Women's Public Policy Institute because I think in this season and this time that we live in, it's very, very necessary that we look outside of just ourselves, look outside of just our countries, to really enforce an agenda and work with people who consider people like me.
I support the International Black Women's Public Policy Institute because they pour into me as a person, as a leader, as a woman.
I refuse to sit on the sidelines. We have to make sure that the next generation is being prepared for leadership opportunities.
As a Black Caribbean woman who operates in the realm of diplomacy, I most certainly understand the critical importance and need for an organization such as the International Black Women's Public Policy Institute.
Because we know that it is women who really are the powerful people on this earth, and we are being kept away in many instances from our true calling, but that's not going to last forever.
We speak from a place of conviction because we believe. We respond with acts of kindness and compassion because we see the needs. We prepare, unite, show up, and help so our sisters can receive. We don't just talk about it, we demonstrate love through our good deeds.
Now you've touched the women. Now you've touched the rock. You've dislodged the boulder. You will be crushed. The women come together. When we decide, when we make up our minds that things need to change, then that's when things change.
All right. Give me a second here. Great. Everybody enjoy that? So check this out. Every time I look at this video, I get chills because I'm so passionate about what we're producing. I'm so passionate about what that message is gonna be. I'm so passionate about making sure that my client feels the chills that I feel. As a storyteller, those are the emotions and ways that you have to make sure that you understand and feel the way that you feel. You want your clients to feel the same way. This project right here, the International Black Women's Public Policy Group, I've been documenting their work for 10 years. And throughout that 10-year process, I've documented all their meetings. So it was easy to be able to put this trailer together. We're in the process of doing a full documentary about their 10 years of service to women, not only in the United States, but around the world. So they put this trailer together because they wanted to start to get the message out. This was all post-production that included past footage of photos and videos to put this together. The other reason that made this project so important was because we had two amazing producers help me streamline what this script was going to be and what this storyline was going to be. If you see different parts of the video where the music and the crescendo, how the music just came in and it came in with the messaging and it came in with the testimonies, that's what made this so impactful. That's not something that you can do alone. I think you can, but I think with a team effort, this is why that project came out the way it was. This process wasn't as hard as, oh, we have to sit down and make sure we work together. We've been working together, so it wasn't hard to be able to kind of do contract terms and figure this out. What's important about that project was sitting down and scripting out what that storyboard is going to look like and make sure that we came out with a message that explained who they were for throughout their 10-year process as a trailer. So we're utilizing this trailer to be able to produce the documentary. So this one was all pretty much for this meeting. Okay. This one was pretty much, I want to make sure nobody else is waiting. This project was a lot of post-production. And again, like I said, between the previous photos and videos, a combination of the producers that worked on this. We had one producer specifically was good about scripting, what needed to be seen to create a timeline. And we had a producer that was basically outlining the music and what were the best shots. As a collaborative team, we came together and basically looked at the storyline, the storyboard, the music, the sound bites, and was able to put this project together. So now the bigger project lies ahead of us, which is putting the documentary together. So that one still gives me chills to today. So we'll move on to some fun stuff. So this project right here, LeBron McClain, I'm gonna show you parts of this video, not all of it. Just give you a quick background once we dive into it. This video right here, LeBron McClain was an NFL player that played for the Baltimore Ravens. And at the time, he had contacted a PR agent that we've always, PR professional that we've always worked with. And he was interested in documenting his story. They were headed to the playoffs. They're headed to the playoffs. I think Ray Lewis was still there at the time. And then there was also, if anybody knows Alabama football, A-Day is a big day in Alabama. So he wanted to document the road to the playoffs and also A-Day in Alabama. So we'll dive into more of that so you'll better understand what the project was about.
The realness of like what I do, you know, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you regardless. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat, you know, anything with you. I'm not. If you ask me a question, I'm gonna give you my honest answer. If a situation in your hand, I'm gonna give you, you know, how I feel about the situation, how I want to go. You know, and it's your choice if you want to go with it. Man, you see me, man. You see me right now. You see me finna get the Alabama thing going, man. Alabama's huge, man. I know on Saturday, you know, on Tuscaloosa, it's Alabama all day, every day, nothing but it. You know, roll tide. Oh, let's go! Run his ass over! Run his ass over! Let's go. Oh, let's go! Ah! That's what I'm talking about. This is what last night looked like, Juju. Lord. Focus on that, and you can take it how you want it with that, but roll tide, roll. Just running out there, man, seeing all that purple and black, man, it's amazing. But when they call your name off the introduction, man, how crazy the crowd go, you know, and it's just a great feeling, man, a humbling feeling, man. Just say that I'm blessed, man, just to be in the situation that I'm in. You know, just thank God, because without him, man, nothing would be possible.
Nice, you guys like? So, interesting, that project right there, Jim Folliard, my DP, and Gearshift, he's the owner of Gearshift TV. We partnered to be able to bring that docuseries together. There's two parts to that. So like I said, just to scale back, that project, that was a relationship we had with a PR professional. They knew that they wanted to do a docuseries, so they knew that they can count on us to be able to deliver that story to them. And once we got into the kind of contract phase with them, we were ready to move forward. We definitely did sign a contract to make sure that we put things in place. But as far as like outlining how that story was going to take place, again, we listened to their vision to understand what they were trying to convey. The producer, Wally Gibson, which was the manager of LeBron at the time, was very, very strategic about what he wanted to cover. By then, it was our job to be able to cover it and deliver a message, but make it compelling. Not everyone with a camera can just be like, okay, we'll just cover it and document it. We saw some work that some, not talking about other production companies, that people did for them. And I think there is a skill and there is a craft to doing that. So what we did for them is, again, we lined up a timeline. We looked at a storyboard, and we created it with a thought in mind of, this is what we got to make sure that we capture. But on shoots like that, which is, somebody's on here. Hold on. I'll go to mute him. Okay. What's important is that sometimes when you're on shoots and you're looking at a shot list and you're looking at your schedule of shooting and you're looking at a timeline, you're still going to be basically getting alternative shots and doing alternative things. In that particular project, if you looked at it, you'll probably think to yourself, how many cameras are out there and how many crew members and how many people are putting this together? Jim is really good about directing. When we get to a shoot like that, we don't want to overwhelm the shoot where it's too many camera people. If you're documenting something, when you have too many crew members around, it causes and brings attention, and then you can't get in and out of places like where the game was, in and out of restaurants, in their home, and different things. More people cause more confusion. So the less you can keep your crew with creative skills, the better you'll be able to get the project. So one of the things that I know Jim directed us on this one to do was a very detailed shot and also a wide shot, not to miss anything. And one of the other important elements was blocking. So you don't want to be shooting and then I'm seeing your camera and then you're seeing my camera. Yeah, you could take that out in post. But when you start working in rhythm with someone else, you know when they move, you move. When they move, you move. So you're moving around to be able to get that story. And it's so key because it's eye movement and it's connecting. So of course there's times where we're stopping in between, but like Jim and I have been working together so long that we're communicating with our eyes and hand movements, knowing to make sure when we're doing a docuseries project like that, we know what shots to get. The back end of that, and I'm gonna go into the second video, the back end of that is what was important to that project was getting sound bites. We got sound bites on site, but for the second series, we brought them into the studio to recap all the different moments we shot in order to be able to narrate and tell that story. Once we have all those things in place, especially with that project, it's easy again to go to the editing and post, create that EDL where you're looking at all the series of shots that you wanted to get through a timeline and some ones that you got that day. And then once you lay down the narration and the sound bites and you look at your timeline, now it's easier for you to tell that story. The third tier is that music. The fourth tier is that are those graphics. And all those things come into play in really making something that's compelling. Because at the end of the day, just documenting someone doing something, it has to come together and the story really has to come alive. Like just looking at that, you don't have the full scope of it, but looking at it, you can tell that it was the beginning of that project where I showed you, you can tell that we're leading up. Basically, he was leading up to the playoffs. But the glitz and glamour that you got a chance to see was that's their life. And there was more to it. Just to say the least. There was definitely more to it, but we had a great time shooting that. So I'm gonna jump into the second video just to give you a glimpse of that, and I'm gonna go into another type of video so you can be able to see. Give me a second here. I'm reconnecting y'all again so we can keep moving. Cool beans, here we go. Part 2 of that project.
This face belongs on the tizzle. A-Day is Alabama Day in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, when, you know, it's the inter-squad scrimmage game between, you know, the Crimson and the White. You know, it's pretty much like a regular season game for fans. You know, they come back, you know, fill up the stadium, thousands and thousands of fans, man, throughout the quad, you know, throughout the Walk of Champions, throughout the stadium, pretty much going in and cheering on, you know, one of the best universities, you know, in the U.S., you know, Alabama. Roll, Tide, roll.
This weekend is stupid bananas, man. Hold on, man. Let me adjust my cord. That's what we on right now. Banana life, man. Just going ham all weekend. Airport life, chilling life, man. You know, it was cold in Denver when I left, so I still got my sweater on. Sweater gang, what up? Y'all already know that. I keep a sweater on, man.
Oh, man, pretty much, man. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. What you see is what you get, man. Riding through my old neighborhood, North Circuit, you know, seeing kids out there running around and, you know, playing, you know, pretty much running up and down the street, you know, pretty much like I was doing when I was growing up. Yeah, but this how it was, man. This how we was. What's up, man? What up, baby? You good? You know, and going by my old apartment, you know, and just seeing that, you know, all the memories me and my mom and, you know, had going in and out that door, you know, a few times my mom slapped me upside the head, you know, a few times, you know, me running out the house late for the bus, you know, and a few times, you know, I had a few of my girlfriends in the yard, you know, arguing over, you know, it was crazy. all the kids out here pretty much doing the same thing I was doing when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? And to where I'm at right now, man, it's blessed. You know, God is good, man. Shout out to the kids. Look.
Yellow model kid.
You gonna see that? Yeah. You gonna see the man, huh? Yeah. You gonna see him, huh?
Yeah.
You gonna see him, you know?
I get what you get in 10 years, in 2 days. Ladies love me, I'm on my KJ. If you get what I get, what you say.
What's good? It's your boy LeRon McClain, man. Two-time Pro Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens, man. Repping that IE Entertainment, sport of game movement, because we the only movement that's moving. The Breakout, you know, is a good club down in Tuscaloosa, and my manager, Wally Gibson, is one of the, you know, the top promoter down there, pretty much getting people, you know, to come in and try to change that vibe.
Fast forward a little bit.
And pretty much we look over, you know, but this week, you know, during A-Day, you know, one touchdown.
Right here, okay, this is a tornado that apparently is on the ground. All right, watch for power flashes right in through here. Okay, you saw one right there. Okay, that is a large tornado that is down in Tuscaloosa. This is an extremely dangerous tornado. You can see it's almost pitch black in the city. Everybody from Tuscaloosa south needs to be in shelters right now. Everybody needs to be off the road. Many people listening to us in the radio partners, you want to be off the road. And we just lost the tower cam. Let's see if we can get that back.
We're in Condell, which is a few miles outside of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Leadership team is shooting Ron McClain's A-Day Taste of Town weekend, and we're in the middle of a tornado. There was a tornado watch. The tornadoes actually here. Now it's touchdowns, about 3 or 4 of them scattered throughout Alabama. And airship is right in the middle.
All the people that I flew down here and had with me, then people from my city that I'm cool with. We all, you know, a big team, man, walked across the quad pretty much to the stadium.
Speech fashion and life, I'm young city, baby. Back bitch. Louis. I'm so disgusted. I think I need a doctor. I'm so disgusted. Stylist, ill. Swaggers, ill. Growing up,
I don't know how this is playing, but it's amazing, man. My University of Alabama, I love this school so much. It gave me back so much and brought me so far, man, to why am I not there? Coming back out here, seeing some of these guys, man, like Javier Reigns, who was a freshman when I was a senior. And now that he in the NFL with me now, man, coming back on the side, man, it's a blessing. Roll Tide. That feeling, you know, just walking out there on that field and seeing all the fans and just hearing, you know, Roll Tide, you know, in and out, Roll Tide, man, bring that chill.
All right. How you guys like that? Good stuff. So that project, again, like I said, I wanted to show you a good scope of it. That's the same relationship that with the PR agent. In this one, we wanted to go down memory lane. So traveling with them to Alabama and the player, he brought in a lot of his friends, players, and just people that's in his camp down to Alabama to one experience where he came from, a little bit about A-Day. And again, like I said, to just dive down the story of who he is. It was so cool. Like I said, we had the opportunity to be able to go into a player's life. When we outlined the sketch of what this bio and what this docuseries is going to be on that part, it was so amazing to be able to see where he came from and where he is now, and the different trials and tribulations and things that he went through, the neighborhoods and the schools, and then the opportunity he had to be able to play for one of the biggest D1 football teams, Alabama football. So we had to put that story together. And as you can see, I kind of skipped through it, but in the storyline, we basically listed, be able to get B-roll shots around the city so we can tell that we're in Alabama. And things happened. Like we ran into the tornado that was there, and I tripped. I know you guys saw that. But we were able to kind of go to we laid out all the shots, B-roll shots of Alabama. And then we looked at our timeline to be able to see what we were going to do leading up to A-Day. He had some key events that took place. He had like a philanthropy concert and like a benefit concert. And between looking at his history, where he came from, and documenting A-Day and also some of the benefit events and some of the things in between was just amazing to look at that storyline. And again, with that particular project, the directing still comes into play. Again, Jim was really key about in our shots, there's always one shot that's dedicated at looking at whoever's speaking, or tight shots to be able to get what's actually happening. The wider shot is usually the wide angle shot to make sure that you don't miss anything else that's going on. And again, with that project, it's a docuseries, so you're moving around. It's like a walk and talk type shots. We want to make sure that we're not missing anything. And then the key important part is blocking, so we're not in each other's shots. But we were there, I think, for about 3 to 4 days. Every day we were shooting. The glitz and glamour of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, so many other things took place. Players do what they do. At one point we got contact because we went into a bus where they were smoking weed. Hey, we're grown folks. But we had to take a small break, recuperate, get some water, and keep going again. Is it part of production life? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but at that particular project it was. I say all that to say is because when you're shooting with clients, so many different elements and things take place, and so many different elements of things happen, and you have to just adapt to them, because while those things are going on, you still got to get that story. The post part about that is the same process. That doesn't change. Laying out the different shots that we got, the testimonies, the interviews, and the B-roll, and really trying to come together to tell a good story. Again, like I said, Jim's really good about selecting good music. Some people aren't good. I'm not a good music selector. I've gotten to be a good music selector, but in that project right there, you see how the music moved with the rhythm of everything that was taking place. If you just going down his memory lane, how those soft music, then it switched over to a little bit of hip hop, and then when we got over to the University of Alabama, everything just tied in. And the key part of that one was looking at the testimonials that we did secondary when we brought him back into our studio to be able to narrate that story. And that's how it came out. I mean, it came out to a pretty good story. You're still going to get all these links so you can look at them in the entirety, but I'm just kind of giving you a glimpse into what we did. All right. Let's go back. Let's keep it moving. Everybody still enjoying this? All right, let's go. All right. Make sure you get any questions. Just hold them on standby so we can keep this moving. All right, let's see. Let's soften this up a little bit. I'm gonna pause right here. So this is a music video. This was actually our first music video that we worked on. Kayla Waters is a jazz musician. She came out with her first album last year or the year before, 2 years ago. It's called Zephyr. And they gave us the job to be able to produce her first video. Now, the interesting part about this video, when you look at it, there are no words. It's all jazz music. So we had to create a storyboard and a storyline based off of her vision and her music, and to be able to tell her story. Hello. What you guys think? All right, pretty different. This project was interesting because, like I said, being able to tell a story through music without words was a little challenging, but we were able to do it. We were lucky. We do run into projects where, you run into projects where clients either know what they want or they don't know what they want. That particular project, the client really knew what story she wanted to tell. So it was our job to be able to storyboard it out, to be able to collect those shots that were moving with the rhythm of her music. As an artist, as a jazz artist, what we learned about her was she spoke through her music, and she spoke through the jazz of what she played. And people that had been following her over the years, she was #1 on the charts for jazz around that time when the music video list broke out. And it was so cool to be able to learn what type of musician she was. And then after a while, even by the time we got a chance to shoot the music video, we were able to understand and convey what the words were saying and looking at the jazz video. So with that project, we shot in an urban kind of style studio setting. You saw where the setting shot was. We also planned to shoot, we also shot outdoors to be able to give some structure and beginning to the music video. And then we also set up to shoot, this was all done in one day, also to shoot at her home, actually her manager's home. And as you saw in some parts of the video, she was writing out key words that told a message. Towards the end of the video, you'll have the clip to look at it, all those messaging of those words all came together. They told a story while the video was going on. So what I would probably do differently in that project next time is just make sure I have all shooters so I can be able to direct it a little bit more. So on that one, I was shooting because I wanted to be able to feel and understand what her messaging was through her jazz music to make sure that we documented the video correctly. And again, with that process, the same thing happened in post-production. My editor was able to, we laid down all the shots based on her timeline. And then we had to go back and piece them together between the urban shots at the studio, outside, at the home, and be able to pull in and tell the story. We shot her writing those signs at the end of the day. So when we got to post-production, we had to implement those shots in the timeline to be able to tell the story. We also did, we had her play the entire song about 5 times at the studio. So when she played it 5 times, we shot it in 5 different scenarios. So we shot it from a front angle view, from a side view, from all different angles. So then it was easy in post-production to line up all those shots. She's a very good musician to kind of line up the same way she played the same song and line it up. So now you can go through and grab key shots because everything is lined up together anyway. It's not like she's gonna come up with a different beat or a different song. So now we can go in and get the tight shots of her playing. We can get the wide in the front, from the back and from the side, and tell that part of the story, which is the main part of the music video, and then implement the other shots of her writing, walking, and doing different things. The only thing I would have done differently with that project was get an aerial shot. Couldn't get an aerial shot because we shot in DC, and there's a no-fly zone in DC. I was gonna sneak to do it anyway. You wanna be a daredevil, but not all the time, because you don't wanna get drones taken and get fined, and the fine's pretty high in DC, you don't wanna look forward to that. So yeah, so that one was unique. Very proud and very happy to be able to do that first music video, and for her to be on the #1 on the charts for jazz music. And you can find her online too. So yeah, that was pretty dope. All right, so let's see. Let's move on to another one. Anybody got any questions so far? You're good? You're good? All right, make sure you keep your questions. And then we'll definitely gonna, let me make sure. Anybody else trying to get in here? Oh, shoot. 3 people were waiting. I apologize. That's not good. Okay. So we're still diving. We're going to go into a couple more videos. Let me see. Cool. Very cool. Yes, sir. Giving all the honors without the vocals. Nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So we're going to dive into another type of video. All right. Here we go. Let's see. This one will give you a different perspective. We have 2 more, and then we're going to go into Q&A, okay? Let's see. Let's do this one. Yeah, let's do this one. Can you guys see this video? All right, cool beans. Check this out. So actually, I'm gonna pause, let you know this one. So this right here was a partnership with the NFL Players Association, which is here stationed in Washington, D.C. And they asked Jim and I to this prospect, this young gentleman was a senior quarterback. He had broke all these different accolades, All-American, and he was one of the first African-American D2 football HBCU student to be able to go into the draft from his school, but he was going into the NFLPA prospect game. So what they wanted to do is tell a quick story about him, because a lot of people, of course, you see D1 players, so you don't see Division II players. So we spent a day with him. We lined up, same scenario, never changes. We lined up what we wanted, what we were going to capture. The NFLPA and also a consultant producer was really key about letting us know what they wanted to see. But again, as directors and producers on our end, it's our job to be able to get that vision and convey the message of what they are trying to get across for this young man. So check it out.
Going into the NFLPA game in January, I've been preparing myself on the daily. Probably go about 5 days a week, nonstop content. I want to be perfect on nearly every throw, make good decisions. So when game day comes, the game is just like an open book test. I think it was my first year playing, and somebody had mentioned Tariq playing in the NFLPA game. I'm just really proud and for his success. You know, doubted coming out of college because of his size. Just seeing him in the league now really flourish with the Bears, and him just ultimately putting on for HBCU players like myself.
Amir is a very passionate, hardworking, dedicated leader.
His freshman year here, I was like, oh man, we got this special kid. Let's do some special things with him. And then from that point on, man, been our starting guy for the last 3 years, and it's continued to develop as we matriculate through the season. To have NFL scouts around, it's been pretty fun. I walk past students, and I'm walking with a Redskin scout or a Saints scout. They're just in awe. The kid checks all the boxes. Kid stands 6'5", pocket presence always stood out to us. The young man is an X and O guy. He's going to know concepts. He's going to understand pass protection and run games. That's really going to help him translate over to the NFL. The thing about the D.K. Jones Awards is not a Division II award. It's the best HBCU student athlete, and for him to receive that award is great. You see all the great players that have come through HBCU schools.
And now we got one of our own students who are a part of that legacy.
I have big expectations for my future. I want to be considered as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And Bowie State University allowed me to flourish. Just can't thank this university enough.
All right. So with that project there, what you have to understand is when these young men are prospects, potentially going to the NFL, but this particular project, a prospect to go into the NFL play prospect game as a Division II player, we had to convey a message and able to tell his story, like who he was, where he came from. And because you got to understand, all these D1 guys, you already see them on the news, or you already see everything else that's going on with them on ESPN, but the the Division II guys, you don't. So again, with this project, that was really key. We basically sat down with the producer on calls and the NFLPA and lined up what we wanted to make sure we got. So we got an aspect of him on. Well, let me scale back. All the sound bites that you saw in there with the coaches and also the player and also faculty. We had pre-selected topics and questions that asked them to be able to develop that story. So that was key because that helped narrate the video. The next part is we just basically looked at a timeline of what we needed to get. Him walking on campus, him in classrooms. The film was footage that they provided us, so we didn't have to shoot that. Everything else we had to develop in between to be able to showcase who this young man was and how important he was to the university and how important he was as going in as a potential scout. Now, on that project, we All we had to do was direct and shoot that one. The NFLPA and their team had to edit it. So key things, sometimes you'll get projects where you have to do everything, where you pre-produce, script, shoot, and also edit. That's customary. In that project, we had to make sure that we pre-produced, got everything shot, and then handed it over. So what you want to make sure that you get perfect lighting, perfect sound, clear shots, nothing shaky and weird, but good video, so that once it goes to any network or their editor, they can be able to tell the same message and the same story. At the same time, not overshooting, but shooting enough to give them footage. We were there at least pretty much half the full day. We got there about 9-ish in the morning and we left about 2 or 3. But we had everything so efficiently set up on our pre-production shot list and our schedule that we just went down the line, boom, 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 and shot everything that we needed to. So once we got all the shots together and gave it over to the NFLPA producers and editors, they can be able to edit and put a story together. So that's very, very, very important, that you manage a shot list and manage a production schedule to be able to get all the things you need. Because you can't go back and say, oh, we're going to recreate it. It would cause like mayhem. Not mayhem, but it would cause weirdness if you got to say, oh, hey, university, you got to lock down parts of campus again, or you got to give us, talking to the marketing and communications department, or you got to, we got to get another clearance to shoot again. The player may be busy, he may be traveling, he may be with other scouts, and we're coming back saying we need to borrow another half of your day. So not to get in that category, which sometimes ends up happening for some production crews, you want to be able to have all those things in place. The contract process with that was very seamless. Again, like I said, what really helps us out in what we do is that we've had all these existing relationships where they already trust and know who we are as producers and shooters, and knowing that we're going to always develop and always deliver a good product to them. So that's very, very key, that as you move through every production that you do, you deliver the same quality service, because the message moves on and people refer you and they talk about you. So you want to make sure that you do all those things. Check all those production boxes and keep all those things going. So I'm going to pause right here. On most of those shoots that you've seen, we shot 1080 cameras. We at some point transitioned to shooting Sony 4Ks, but we bring an arsenal of gear, and I didn't explain that, an arsenal of lenses. Between your 70 to 200 kind of long lens, between your wide angle lenses, between your 50 millimeters or 30 millimeters, they get a concentrated shot, and between a slider to be able to get those kind of stagnant moving shots. Very nice lighting and audio. That's how you can deliver a message. Before all shoots, I have a checklist of gear, because you don't want to get to a shoot and you don't have, oh, I left my gear at home, or I left it at the studio. Like that's a no-no. Because even now, I've been in the business for about 15 plus years, I still have to go down and check my log to make sure that I have a camera, I have a backup camera, I have all the lenses that I need, tripods, my lighting, the slider to do different things, sandbags to hold stuff down, and then walk out the door with my production list, because I got to follow it. Of course, we could look at it on our phone, but all the gear is so important on making sure that you can get a good story shot that day. Cool? All right, we got one more here to show you, and then we're going to go into some questions, unless you guys want to see 2 more videos. I can go to 2 more. You're going to go 1 more. Let me know. Are you guys having fun? Are you getting anything? Are you learning so far? Just let me know in the chat. I'm going to check it out. Let me know if you're learning, or give me a high five. I can do 1 more, 2 more videos. You like what you're seeing? Yes or no? Okay. All right. I'll give y'all 2 more, and then we'll do a nice Q&A. I'm happy you guys are enjoying it. I'm happy that you're getting something from it. I'm happy you're getting an opportunity to see what production looks like, and then get the elements of like what we did on that particular production. What we do on productions are customary and standard, but everybody has their different process. That's so important. You develop a process that fits for you in your storytelling. And once you develop that process and it works, and your clients are constantly saying, thank you, we appreciate it, we love the messaging, and then you can go online, like after something posts and see what people are saying, then you know you're doing a good job, okay? So there's no standard process to, oh, this is how it needs to be done. There's a standard process as far as like camera, gear, lighting, audio, all those things, but develop your own process, develop your own production that fits for you so you can be able to tell a good story. Cool? All right. Stand by. We're going to go into another one. Go. Let's share again. Break down. I'm going to show y'all something else. All right. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Let's do this one. Can you guys see the screen? Okay.
I'm happy.
All right. So this product right here, the Hamilton Perkins collection, is an eco-friendly bag made out of recycled billboards and recycled bottles. A couple of years ago, this client was getting ready to create a GoFundMe video, but he really needed to tell a story about who he was and about the bag so that it could be able to translate to potential funders that were coming in on projects for him. Very, very key and important. Again, this client was very, very prepared, very, very detailed, did a lot of research. So when he came to us with all this research and findings and what he wanted to put together, now it was our time to be able to put this story and put it together for him. As you'll see in this video, once I start to play it, he laid out the type of shots, very diverse information. You'll see text and graphics that come up that really kind of help you understand what this product is about. And then on their first rollout, when we were done with this video, I think they landed like at least 150K between donors, sponsors and supporters. That's pretty amazing. And I'm not going to credit it to say that it was us that did it all. They did a lot of front end work, but we did a good job of conveying that message for them. So yeah, just check it out, and we'll talk afterwards.
Hamilton Perkins. I'm the founder of Hamilton Perkins Collection. We're an eco-friendly bag line.
Check that out for a second.
So our bags are made of recycled plastic bottles on the outside, and the inside is made out of repurposed billboard vinyl. We take about 16,000 plastic bottles and we divert those from landfills, and we'll take about 200 billboards and also divert those from landfills. So we're made in the US. Everything starts in less developed countries. We have a pilot country of Haiti where we're sourcing all the recycled plastic bottles. We'll bring it here to the US and we'll create about 200 jobs over about 15 days. And it's all a supply chain that starts in the developing world and ends here in the US. I was having a problem finding bags that really spoke to me and that were unique. I felt like the market was really missing something that I could bring to the table. And it started with transparency and impact. Most of the bags on the market today don't show you how their bags are made or what the costs are. They also don't show you the impact, if there is any. So I wanted to make a collection or a product line that would stand for something more than just a product, but would also have a great impact in the long run. For me, I'm really interested in having a hand in good. I think that there's so many options out there and there's so much content that no one really sits down and really actually takes a step towards making something that is sustainable and will actually last. I get inspired by seeing the problems around us. I see that there's a big opportunity to save more water, and it gets me motivated. I see there's a big opportunity to save carbon emissions, and it gets me excited. I see that there's an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives, and you know, that's the most important thing, that, you know, we're able to help not just ourselves, but we can help others by the products that we consume. We don't just want to be a bag manufacturer, we want to be a problem solver. And when we see our bags around the world, we know that we're solving problems around the world.
All right. How you like that? So check this out. What was cool about that project is that we were able, let me make sure it's still recording. We had a relationship with the CEO of that company's wife. She helps us with a lot of government funding. So again, relationships. Do you hear that? I'm echoing that because of past work. When her husband was launching the company, the first thing she thought of was, I got to give these guys a call. Because why? They can tell a good message, right? So once we got the call to be able to do that project, I start to outline. I'm like, I start going through my list of crew that I'm working with, who can be able to edit, who can be able to shoot, who can be able to all these different things with this project. So the shots that you keep seeing of the bag turning around were all shot in the studio. And it just give me a thumbs up or a hand or something. Once after looking at that video, do you better understand that video? Do you better, I mean, not the video, the product. Did it make sense? That's so key that you guys are saying that and that people understand that, because it's our job to be able to give. You can still hear me? Yeah, it's our job to be able to give people that story. The fact that it made 150 grand on a GoFundMe is like beyond amazing. But if you saw in the video, he was able to convey between the shots, between the text and graphic that came up, the history, the story behind it, and why they're doing it, and what's going forward for them. Their bags are in Bloomingdale's and Macy's. They're in big department stores now. This was a couple of years ago, and they're thoroughly thriving. I think the fact that we're moving into an eco-friendly society, the translation of who they were and what they do with their product really translated well. So with that, here are all the things that happened. We lined up what that storyline was supposed to be, what are the shots that he wanted to get, what were all the key text and graphics that he wanted to implement, and then what jingle would really match and keep you captivated and watching and hearing and understanding, so you wouldn't just walk away. It was something kind of boring and drab. Audio Jungle is a place, and I didn't mention that, where we go to get royalty-free music. You always want to use royalty-free music because, or you don't want to use mainstream music because you don't want to get flagged and stopped because you're helping the client sell or portray a product. And then between the shots we outlined, the graphic text that we created, the single shots you saw of the bag, which really showed the inside, the texture, the elements of the bag, and also the music, all that comes together in editing and post to be able to outline and lay this out. Now you have hours of footage, hours of content, and now you got to put that all down into about 3 minutes. And you only have 3, and he had 3 minutes to show a GoFundMe and get people to go bing, 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 bing. So when we got the message that they had 150K on the first rollout, we were happy. We were thoroughly happy that we helped them convey that message. All the shots were pretty structured. We did create a storyboard. We knew all the different shots we were going to get. The day was moving in timeline. It was like boom, boom, boom. We got a shot downtown. We got a shot inside the store. We got a shot inside key places, and everything was shot in Norfolk. But what's important is that, so much relies on the client, but then you can advise that you got to keep things diverse. You know what I mean? Who would have said that he would have got 150K if you just all one race that was in there, right? So it was really key that you saw the diversity in ethnicity and diversity in male and female, and age and gender, just all difference in there. And I think he delivered really good pre-research and messaging to us to make our job a little bit easier to create that story for him. All right. So now we're going to go to our last video, and we're going to jump into some Q&A. All right. Hold on, moving too fast. All right. So last one, and we're gonna go into some Q&A. Can you guys see this video? Good? All right. Stop it back for you. There we go. Oh, I'm gonna let you know what you're watching. Okay, so the National Action Network came to Washington, D.C. they wanted us to document the 50th March on Washington. And they wanted a documentary approach shot of behind the scenes, front of the scenes, like basically what took place that day. So most of you know Al Sharpton and what he stands for and what he fights for. It was our job to be able to place cameras throughout this mega shoot to be able to get shots of who's speaking, key celebrities that were in the crowd, and then when they actually reenacted the march from 50 years ago, to get cameras in place to be able to get the shots we needed to develop this. Now, as you can see, the whole process that we go through of saying there's a wide shot, you'll see wide, and then you'll see some concentrated shots. And then on this one, you can't walk up with a microphone or put like a lavalier mic on them. All our cameras have like Rode mics on them. Okay, so we had about 3 cameras that were out there to be able to document and capture what was going on with this project. So check it out.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. 50 years ago, they did not take a bus outing to come to Washington. There will be those that will miscast this as some great social event. But let us remember 50 years ago, some came to Washington having rode the back of buses. Some came to Washington that couldn't stop and buy a cup of coffee till they got across the Mason-Dixon line. Some came to Washington sleeping in their cars because they couldn't rent a motel room. Some came to Washington never having had the privilege to vote. Some came having seen their friends shed blood. But they came to Washington so we could come today in a different time and a different place, and we owe them for what we have today. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of slaves and the sons of former slaves, will they be able to sit down together to receive of brotherhood? I have a dream. One day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice.
justice. I have a dream. 5 poor little children one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
All right. Okay. So with that project again, very heartfelt project, a project that I enjoy working on docs like that, basically getting shots that help tell a story of real moments in time. As you can see with, and I'll break it down for you, we had a relationship with the National Action Network, so we've covered a lot of their workshops and events, but putting together, not reenacting, but basically capturing the 50th March on Washington was ideal for us, and that was something that we were very happy that they gave us the task to do. Breaking down the elements of the shots, we made sure that we had one shot that captured all the main speakers that were speaking from the podium, and so many instrumental people were there that day, and that helped narrate what it was. We had a camera that once Reverend Al Sharpton arrived with his team, kind of followed him because he's the key the key person of this video, to make sure that they follow him, and we got him and behind the scenes. Prior to this, we have to get full press access and full press access badges so we can move around. The all access badges help us because there's so many people that are there either protecting and watching and policing, that once they see our all access, they know that we can move around freely. I always make sure that my entire crew has all access badges when we do something like this, because I don't need anyone held up with trying to capture what we need to that day. That's one of the things that I don't need to happen, and all that is solidified when we do the contracting and pre-production. Same thing when we covered the Women's Day March, same thing happens. You got to get all access. So the shots were the main one that you saw to get the people speaking on stage. There's also a camera that's a floater that's getting all B-roll, close shots, tight shots. You saw a lot of key celebrities when they're arriving in the front. A lot of celebrities and people and politicians and entertainment folks and film folks were sitting in the front. So we made sure we got all those shots. We also had another camera that was placed out when the march happened to get in front, because once it got going, and I'll move forward, it got a little ugly because the crowd started moving. Then there was shoving. Then there were the park police horses that were out there. They had to recontrol the crowd. All the media was in the front. At some point when the crowd was going too fast and they were trying to control what was going on, media folks were falling. One guy got hit in the head with a camera. Blood was coming down. And so my game plan that day was I had an outside camera that was looking, had a full wide shot of the march coming and from a further away area, just in case where I was, because I placed myself in the front, sort of away from the catastrophe, so I could be able to get that front main shot. It was key, and they knew who I was, so I made sure that I was in the front. So when they saw me, if I got moved into the crowd, they were able to pull me back in. Oh, that's Napoleon. That's our hired videographer. I had all my other people set up different places, but the main shot that you want to get, that main shot of the march moving, was key for me to make sure that I get that, and was key for me to make sure that it was me, because they knew who I was, and then I didn't have any issues of saying, if I had another person placed out there for that particular shoot and they got moved into a crowd, oh, yo, Napoleon, I wasn't able to get that shot. I got moved into the crowd. The police moved. They didn't know who I was. Excuse my French. Fuck that. At that point, you can't go back and redo that, right? Like, there's no chance to do it. So, like I keep reiterating again, one of the things that I do really well is implement people to be in places to be able to get things that I need, right? And also making sure that all cameras are equipped with everything that we need, which is with good audio, depending on which lens that they need, the wide angle or tight, and batteries. You do not want to get crew out there and your battery runs out. I can give you nightmare stories about stuff like that. I'll give you a quick one. I was on a shoot at the time I had just started shooting. I had one battery. I think 2. So anyway, this big music producer was giving a training class at a studio. I had 2 bars left, and he was still going. He was talking about how he produced Lady Gaga's song and just going and going and going. I don't have that footage with me today. And then it dropped to 1 bar. I started sweating so bad. I was like, please, God. Let me tell you something. I'm a praying dude. I am a praying God. I'm such a praying dude. I prayed, and right when they said take a break, the 1 bar dropped, and then my camera cut off. So I was able to go charge it, get an extra 3 bars, come back. My learning experience from that, because I had just started shooting, and this was with Grammy. My learning experience from that, now we'll go back to that story, was I equipped myself the next day with like 3 extra batteries. I just was like, at the time I went to my dad and was just like, hey, dude, I just need a loan. I got to get some more gear because I never wanted to be in that position again. My anxiety went up. My blood pressure was high that day. Shit, because you can't tell the client again, oh, my battery went out. So I didn't get Salam Remy's last bite that he said. So anyway, that day was saved. So anyway, for that shoot, you got to have extra batteries on you for a march. Because if your battery runs out, where are you going to charge at? Where are you going to go? So I always also made sure that everyone had like 2 or 3 batteries on them. The only weird thing that happened on that shoot was it was hot and one of my shooters lost their phone. We didn't have walkies out there. And then her kind spirit and karma, someone found the phone, put it at a hotel. A cousin called it, said where it was, and she got it because I lost contact with 1 crew member that day. So we learned from that experience, and we were able to get walkies after that. That had at least 50 to 100 mile radius to be able to connect with people because you never know if technology breaks down. So moving on to the editing process, after you heard all that weirdness, we laid everything out, the way that it needed to be. We laid out the timeline. We wanted to connect the right music with the moment that was going on. And we implemented between the narrative of who was speaking on stage, the march, the key tight shots of very instrumental people that were in that crowd, and was able to deliver a story. That's my story, Hold on a second. Let me get back over here and then we can start taking some questions, okay? Give me a second here. If we have time, I'll show y'all some behind the scenes, but I think we should start taking some questions now. Professor Kenny, you still on here? Got anything to say while I go in the Q&A? And I'm going to open it up for questions now.
I think this is a good time for questions, and definitely appreciate you showing your work. I think a lot of it for students is seeing that it's about doing, right? And being able to show your work and learning from each shoot. And each shoot, you're going to learn different things. And even with us working together, I remember the JD shoot with the Grammys and different things and learning something from each shoot and creating a signature as well. Because I noticed, and I know it's one of your signatures is that super wide lens, right? And so when I see a video and I see that super wide angle, I know that that's your signature. So I think there's a lot of good things that students can take away. And I think this would be a good time to open it up for Q&A.
Definitely. I see a couple of questions in here now that I can answer. Let's see. How does the copyright, let me start at the top here. I have to work it a bit. All right, that's Nigel. Nigel, thanks for coming on. Where do you find and learn about your team, schools, conventions by random in public? Nigel, so he's gone, but I'll answer that question. Where do we find our team, schools, conventions, and random in public? I think I'm understanding your question. Oh, yeah. So on my site, if you go to my site, I do have a section in there that talks about every key person, who they are, what they do. There's definitely a bio on everyone that's in there. And in their bios also has like some contact information or website. And then if you go in there, if you want to learn a little bit more, just send me an email and I can definitely connect you with them. So that's not a problem at all. Schools, conventions, and by random in public. I'm trying to make sure I understand this question. What do you learn about conventions in pub? So I'm not 100% sure. He's off the call. So if you can get that from him, I'll answer that for him. How does the copyright work for you? Is it work for hire? Copyright, I'm hoping what he was saying was in regards to maybe music. So like I said, the royalty-free stock, royalty-free music, staying royalty-free keeps you away from any copyright infringement. So now on that project, we did get clearance on that last one from the National Action Network acquired the MLK old footage. From the MLK old footage, they got the copyright releases. That's why we were able to use that. So that's very, very important. I'm happy you asked that. Let's see, what else we got here? I think I really enjoyed it. I have some questions for you. I'm really starting to develop. This is Tanisha. I have some questions. I'm really interested in developing my interest in writing and doing different types of writing. Would video storytelling use script writing? Any tips or advice for doing script writing? Well, that's a great question. You have an opportunity now between online YouTube and also master classes to be able to literally go on and learn from like the best, and really understanding how to develop a script. Here's my thing. Once you get formal instruction on script writing, that's knowledge number one. The next way is really going out there and doing it, okay? Maybe starting with like some of your peers or somebody or people in your circle. If they're working on something, jump on it. Well, let me do the script. And then on each project that you work on, it can only get better. And while you're working on it, lean towards your mentor to be able to critique your work. And then while you do that, continue to get training. Like I told you, right before I jumped on this workshop, I was looking at Spike Lee on Master's Class, you know? I think it's always key to continue your training. So I hope I answered that, okay? Fantastic documentary. Carol, thank you so much. How would one look into writing internships? Let's say I would like to write for a website. Look into writing, Dario. Let me see if I understand that right. How would one look into writing internships? I'm not sure if I understand that question. Do you understand that, Professor Kendrick?
Internships with like a writing-based element.
Yeah. Okay, good question. So everywhere is hiring interns. Okay, so that's one and foremost. And there's still online publications that have moved to being a like, you know, Essence Magazine or a paper magazine that are always looking for writers. I see internships for writers all the time. So you got to put yourself out there and connect to see. Another good resource is NPPA. Why I don't have exactly what it is. A national, well, I'll tell you in 2 seconds, because I want to make sure y'all understand what this is. This is a good place to start. And you're going to get some really good foundation in the NPPA. And I'll tell you what it is now. NPPA is a National Press Photographers Association. It's really cool. I researched them before I joined them. So it's photographers, journalists, writers, all types of creatives. And you get a badge, but not a badge to just go jumping into press sets to do anything. Just a badge to honor, understand that you're part of this group and a part of a group of professionals. Being a member of that, and they also have a student categories, being a member of that, you get an opportunity to be able to get resources sent out online and also by mail. And also you have access to all the journalists and writers and creative people that are part of there. It's okay nowadays to be able to go online and maybe write someone or text them or send them a tweet or an IG. They may or may not get back to you. When you join an association, now you have direct access. So yeah, there's plenty of internships out there. If you're looking for some, lean towards Professor Kenny, and then I'll try to send a couple to you. So I hope I answered that. How do you do about finding your music? Sometimes I tend to, this is Shania, hope I said your name right, to make video concepts based on specific mainstream song. Not for profit, of course, but definitely will get the copyright claims. Key fact, there's more than enough other websites out there. Audio Jungle is one of them. That's your start, okay? I'm gonna give you a couple more, and I wish I had them listed. But Audio Jungle is your first start. The membership is not expensive. You actually can get an account and then get music along the way. But now they changed it where you can set up an account and then you can get multiple music and download them throughout the month. But there is a fee to it. But if you Google royalty-free, there's several different sites that are out there that offer royalty-free music. That avoids you from any copyright infringement. That's so key. And they don't cost much. I keep referring back to Audio Jungle because there's similar sites to Audio Jungle. There's songs on there for like $10, all the way up to like $35 or $40. And once you purchase them and download them, you also purchase and download the royalty-free license because they've been licensed to the site. So once you purchase it, it's licensed to you. So I hope that made sense. What programs Shannon, would you recommend that's good for editing videos? Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere has been around for a long time, Shannon. And they've expanded their platform to, once you get a student membership, which is not that expensive, you have access to all the platforms that are on there. And that's from Adobe Photoshop to After Effects to, of course, Adobe Premiere. But it gives you access to so many different other editing tools that the platform has. But Adobe Premiere is very user-friendly to me. So look into going to adobe.com, look to see what the student membership is. Professor Kenny got money. See if he'll pay for it. Or Professor Beth, I'm joking. But they do have a student membership. So look into there, and hopefully that answered your question. Kendrick, was that the JD shoot we did? Which JD?
Did Jermaine Dupri win the Grammys? But you said it was the
no, actually that was Grammy was the client project, but that wasn't it. Prior to that, I covered Salam Remy, which produced if you look him up, Salam Remy produced a lot of Lady Gaga and a lot of mainstream artists, and I was recording, and that's how I ran into that battery issue, which wouldn't have been cool. All right, Nigel, let's see. Thanks for answering those. D, I had to work. All right, Nigel, good luck at work. So do you offer hands-on training? This is Troy, hands-on training. I'm more into technical equipment and shooting. Well, before COVID, we did have Troy. We always extend opportunities for that. And the good thing about our studio, and you'll learn this from Jim on Friday, is that depending on where our shooting schedule is, that's something that we work out with the university, or usually it's easier to work out through the university, saying that if it's a group of you and you'd like to come over and do some hands-on training, we definitely can open that up. That's not a problem at all. Like I keep telling you, one of our biggest things about informing, educating, and empowering people is we stand by that. So I'm not going to tell you today, oh yeah, we offer training, and then you keep trying to reach us and we blowing you off and like, fuck that dude. Like, we don't operate like that, okay? So get in touch with Professor Kendrick. What I would say is that once this blows over, because I do believe my beautiful God is going to descend down on us and get this thing under control so we can get back to some normalcy, is we can definitely set something up like that. And we would love to do it, okay? And once we find out like what areas you and your peer group want to learn, we could lean into that, okay? So I hope I answered that. Let's see what else we got here. What key members? This is Rachel. Hold up, I skipped someone. Oh yeah, equipment. So I answered that, Troy. What key members are a must regardless of budget? Then, and what members can you add on? So key members of your crew, dude, someone that understands contracts, right? So I'm fortunate enough that I understand all those areas. But if you're developing a crew and you want to develop a crew of people, you want to get a producer that understands contracts and understands budgets and understands negotiation. You want to get a director of photography that has a very good eye and can get the shots that you need. You want to get an editor that's phenomenal, okay? Because sometimes you can get dope shots, but then if you're not that strong in editing, you want to get an editor, because we have editors that all they want to do is edit. I just want to edit. I just want to edit. Like Katarina that works with me, the first time I met her as a student on campus, and then she later came on to work with me, the first thing she told me is like, I like to edit. All I want to do is edit. With her editing long fingers. She was like, I want to edit, I want to edit, I want to edit. She has nice hands. I want to edit, I want to edit. So when you find somebody like that, and a person that's really, they're always training and wanting to get better, you bring them on to do that. Jim, what you're gonna learn about on Friday is I think he's like a mutant, because between shooting, editing, contract negotiations, starting his own production company, I swear he's an android. So on Friday, when you're listening to him talk, see if you see any batteries are moving around him. But no, that's my dude. We've been friends for life. And he has all those skill sets down packed. But those are the key positions and key crew people that you want to make sure. With those alone, you can get going. But I also tell people and educate people that you want to get versed and educated in those areas as well. You want to understand producing. You want to understand contract negotiation. You want to understand shooting. You want to understand editing for some basic knowledge so you can be able to do it yourself. Okay? My wife's here with some crackers. I'm lucky. All right. Hold on, guys. All right, what else? Thanks for taking time. You're welcome, Emerald, to talk to us. You are most welcome. Dario, like an internship in which you would write for a company or something. Yeah. Is that a question?
We answered that one.
Okay, sweet. Let's see. Troy, I'm sorry I meant that question for everyone to hear. All good. Taylor, what is your favorite camera and lens for shooting documentaries? There is no favorite camera per se or favorite lens, but my go-tos. So what I've learned is when I switch from DSLR to the Sony, which is a very high-end 4K, what I learned is that shot is crispy clean. Okay? Now they do have different different series of Sony cameras. There's several. My thing is when you get a chance to purchase a camera, you want to test it and feel it out and see which one fits for you. Okay? So Sony, first and foremost, this one right here is the 7S. So they have different series in there and different cost brackets. So you want to be able to look at that. My go-to lenses, I got a problem. Like I always have the 70-200 on me. Why? Because the 70-200 can go far and it can get a tight shot and it looks good and the colors come in so dope. And then my wide angle lenses, excuse me. Where are you? Can't remember my wide angle that I have on there. I purchased a new one that I love, which is this 17-35. It's okay. It's not good as my other one. The reason why I love either having a wide angle or that 70-200 to go on a distance and 50 millimeter is because those concentrated shots get such a detailed shot for what you're recording. May it be an interview, may it be a product or something that you're trying to capture. Those are my go-tos. Now, everyone has a different go-to for them, but my thing is, if you can create an arsenal of lenses, then you can go through all the lenses, see which one will be able to be a fit for you for the project you're working on. So I hope I answered that. What would that purchase of music be for one-time use? No. So the cool thing about Audio Jungle that I'm referring back to is like once you purchase it, once you download the license and the song, you can use it. Now, what you're going to find as an editor or person that's producing is that you don't want to change music on other projects if it's personal or with a client. So what's going to happen is, say for instance, you download one, right? But you know you have the flexibility to buy other music. You don't want somebody to go to your YouTube page and they're hearing the same damn song. Now there's a catch to that. Nothing's really wrong with that if you're branding the product. So like with all my videos, I have a Storyteller certified TV platform that I recently created. And on that, I have used the same branding song. That's because I'm branding that product that I'm working on, okay? So I hope I answered that question. What else we got in here? Matthew, did I skip anyone? No. Dario, the best deal for Dario is the best deal for Adobe $19.99 a month. I heard about them having some sort of quarantine discount. They might. I'm not 100% sure. You might want to look into it. Professor Kenny is shaking his head. So yeah, definitely look into that. I'm sure they do. Matthew, I'm currently writing a fantasy adventure motion comic web series. Which places can I establish copyright for it? Also, what applications would you recommend for my friends who are aiding in creation of illustrations and still animations? That's a nice question that I might be able to answer. All right, let me see if I answer this in parts. Motion comic web series, which places can I establish copyright for it? So a couple of things with that. I'm not an expert in animations or graphic animations in that area, so I don't want to give you the wrong information. But I do know that in regards to any work that you have, you definitely want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Establish ownership to the material that you're putting out there. I can get that for you, Professor Kendrick, so I can be a little bit more direct. I also have a motion graphic animator that's on my staff that can answer that a little bit more strategic. So to give you the direct answer that you want from there. So if you can help coordinate that, I want to make sure I get that answer back to Matthew, okay? And I apologize I wasn't able to answer that thoroughly. Shania, can you give us some key tips on getting good lighting, especially for students who can't afford anything too crazy? You got natural light. So check this out. I got a ring light that's on right now. This is me without my ring light, okay? But I also can open up the window if I don't have that opportunity. So with my window, depending on what angle the sunlight's coming in, I can get that. Now, check this out. On a student budget, I completely understand you may not have the budget. I've been there. I get it. But we do live in a time where between B&H, Amazon, and so many other sites that you can go to, that you can put in LED lights or ring lights, and it'll bring up a series of them. You might end up buying a cheap one, right? But that's okay when you're just starting out. It's okay, because what's gonna happen is you'll learn about what you get and what you can get better. And then we all got aunts and uncles. We all got grandparents. We all got somebody that believes in us. So I have no qualms when I was getting going to call one of those people that believed in me. I could tell you a list of all my family members that I would call and say, hey, I'm trying to buy a light. I'm trying to buy my first tripod or my first camera or a lens or anything. Do not be afraid to lean towards your family. You might get some of them that say, well, it's about damn time you reaching out to me. I do want to help. So there are people in place that want to help you for that. You know what I'm saying? Like Professor Kendrick, just call him. He has money. He'll pay for it. I'm joking. So, yeah, I hope I answered that, okay? All right, what else we got here? For good lighting, again, like I said, you got your daylight, but there are cost differences that you can find some cost-effective ring lights or LED lights, okay? Also, what wisdom would you impact on the subject of social media marketing? Shoot, man, let me tell you something. While we're being quarantined, and I'll give you an example, one of the key things that I was able to do is not just sit idle and like, oh, I can't do anything from home. We have the power of Zoom. We have the power of FaceTime Live. We have the power of IG Live to really exhaust social media marketing. So like for me, I got a list of clients, and I'll answer that question where they weren't idle and they're like, well, what should we do now? Where a lot of us are home. We can't really go out. We can't really shoot. We can't get you to come shoot. I was like, well, then we're going to get creative. So I've jumped on several Zoom calls with my clients, one per se, and I got on a 2-call thing with them. One, they came out with a micro razor. We were supposed to do a commercial. We couldn't do it. That got stopped for COVID. And then they needed to continue to market it. So we got on a Zoom call and we just talked about that product. We talked about grooming tips. We talked about the brothers at home that's growing an afro and the brothers at home that their hair is getting long and how they can either utilize, they're in the process of creating discounts for that razor. And then they partner with another natural-based company to help any guys that are at home that needs grooming and grooming tips. So that we put together an opportunity online where we utilize social media for them, right? It makes sense. Or if you're like a motivational speaker or you have like any product or service or anything that you do, just get online. Create like a 30-second or a 60-second video. You got LinkedIn, Facebook for the old heads, IG, you got the IG stories, Facebook stories. You could utilize all of them. Do not be afraid to share your message online. That's what I tell everyone. Any message that you share, I've seen worse, I've seen good, I've seen bad. So take a shot at it. But you got people that you can send it to. Like, send it to them first. Like, what do you think about this? My creative director is my wife. Everything that you see on our website and the work that we do, I lean to her and ask her. I'm a communicator, but I still need help developing how I write my scripts, because for some odd reason, I'm a communications major, but I can't write that well. So I lean towards her to really be able to look and proofread. Now we got our 11-year-old and she's proofreading my stuff. She proofreading my LinkedIn site the other day and was like, I got too many explanation marks and dashes that I didn't need. So hopefully I answered that with the social media, because there's too many flat platforms out there that you can use currently right now. Okay, I can go a little bit deeper into that. I got a virtual story coaching that I can talk to Professor Kendrick about, that I can set up. So if anybody wants to do that, we can do that. Okay. Jim said he's a robot. You're a robot, Jim. All right. What else we got here? Who else? I'm currently we're halfway down here. Artist is good, Shannon, for royalty free. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that information. Okay, can you share your company's social media page and website? Of course I can. Pause. Now, if anybody has questions while I'm leaning towards this that you want to just jump on and ask me, please let me know. Hold on real quick. Kenny, if you want to just jump in and see if anybody has, here we go. Put this in front. Can y'all see that? Okay. That's our motto we live by. Your vision becomes a reality when you work with us. Your trust is in our hands when you trust us to shoot your project. And then now your story has been told. It's so key. One of the tips that I live by and advice: when you learn, teach. When you get, you give. You must do that. I challenge everybody on this call and at the university that anything that you acquire, you should pass it along. Just like I'm doing today. Why hold all that information in and not share it? You're supposed to share it. Now, if you're just a selfish mother, something, and you don't want to share, you live with that. But I'm not going to live with it. Okay? Okay? Another tip: storytelling is the gateway to people's hearts and minds. People, create stories that articulate vision, provide direction, and inspire people to act. Okay? It may not be your messaging, but ours is we want to educate, we want to inspire, and we want to empower people. Okay? That's my information. Website, NapoleonComplexProject.com is the main website where you get most of the information that I discussed today. I also have a secondary site that needs to be updated and has more photo visuals. It's the ncproject.com. You also see Gearshift TV. That'll be your presenter on Friday. Jim, showing you how to start your own video production company. I'm still a producer there. We still work on projects together. It's been since 2005 or 7, excuse my French, that we've been working together. Why we work so well together? Transparency. When I get a project come in, me and him sit down, we look at it, we look at the budget. He sees what I see, what he needs. He tells me what he needs as a DP. It works for him, it works for me. We shoot and we go. We're not selfish. He got a family, I have a family. So we're not selfish about spreading the wealth, but we've worked together in this transparent way since we linked up as business owners and business partners. And that's why I like working with them. My IG handle is right there. My LinkedIn, I didn't put my Facebook because I didn't think any old heads would want to be bothered with that. But you can find all our information here. And this slide, everything that I have on here will be provided to you again. Okay? I'll leave that up. If anybody has any questions, go away. Let me know.
Yeah, guys, let's get ready. We're going to get ready to wrap. We definitely want to thank Don for giving us his time. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them now.
I don't have a question, but I did want to say thank you very much. I've enjoyed this as I did yesterday. I did want to say there was something yesterday Ms. Brown mentioned in the workshop, not on yesterday, on Monday, a type of camera that she showed, and she said that it was a really good one. Do you remember what it was, Professor Kendrick?
Mevo.
Oh, Mevo.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Mevo is a cost-effective camera now that if you need to do your self-shooting for your own TV show, it is a very, very cool and interesting device to look into. Research it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank you.
and you're most welcome too.
How's that spelled? M-I-V-O?
No, M-E-V-O. Yeah, and go to YouTube. YouTube has a lot of information on it. Go to their website. They'll provide you all the details. You'll want to thoroughly understand the product.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Nobi. You're welcome, Michael, Tanisha, Shania. In your opinion, what is the best way to get clients? Continue to provide good work. From the first project that you get, deliver it in a way that you're delivering an award-winning project, right? People talk. People talk in this area, they talk in this industry, and then your name starts to carry. That's one way. The second way is to make sure that you market yourself. You have an opportunity. We didn't have an opportunity like this years ago where social media was a platform that we can utilize. Most of 90 to 95% of the things that I work on, I make sure that I'm providing that information online and I'm either posting it or talking about it because you never know who's watching and listening. And then at the same time, some of the work that you do, post that as well. Do a smaller version, a 60-second, a promo of it. Put it out there because you never know who will be paying attention to your work. Okay? Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Let me take a picture of everybody. Going once, going twice. Any questions? Can you unmute yourself? Anybody has any questions? Anyone else? You're good? All right. Well, look. Yep. Somebody has a question? You're good? Okay, look. I thoroughly enjoyed providing my information and my background and my experience with you. I really hope, Taylor, what's good? I really hope that,
hey, Don.
Hey, how's it going? I'm happy I heard you on board over there.
Yeah, it's been good.
All right, well, I don't want to hold you guys any longer. I hope that you were able to learn something. I customized to put this storytelling workshop together based off my experiences, how we operate and what I do. I hope I was able to break down our process and give you a little bit of understanding. So when you go to your projects to be able to do your own storytelling, you can be able to convey a great message and put together a product that, one, helps the client be educated along the process, but at the same time, creating a story that is just beautiful and translates and connects with people. So I hope I delivered a good message to everyone, and look forward to seeing everyone again on Friday with your production workshop with Jim. You have a treat for that. Kendrick.
Yeah. Thank you again, Don, and again, everybody check back in on Friday. We'll be wrapping the workshop, and Jim, who is Don's partner, will be delivering a message that I think you guys will want to tune into. So again, thanks everybody for coming out. Again, thank you, Don, and I'll see you guys on Friday.
All right, y'all be well. Wash your hands, stay clean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.